I was reading this story this morning about a company. They got dragged into court because their customer service chatbot it went rogue.
Oh, I think I saw that one.
It promised a customer a refund that didn't exist, and the company tried to argue, hey, that wasn't us, that was the machine.
And the judge was not having it? I remember
Yeah.
that. It's becoming like the classic example of this total disconnect between deployment and responsibility.
It feels like we see a version of that story every single week now. We've got AI writing code, diagnosing patients, running financial models. And half the time, it feels like the organizations deploying this stuff are just, I don't know, crossing their fingers and hoping for the best.
They absolutely are. It's the Wild West.
It is. It's exciting, sure, but it's the Wild West.
It really is. And it's that classic technology adoption curve, right? The capability is just shooting up vertically, but the governance, the rules of the road, it's completely flatlining.
Yeah.
Everyone wants the shiny new toy, but nobody's reading the instruction manual, or in this case, writing one.
Well, that is exactly why we are here today. We're looking at a huge stack of reports and technical docs about something that it might sound a little dry on the surface, but it's actually revolutionary. We are talking about ISO 42001.
Which, to be fair, sounds like a droid from Star Wars.
It does. It really does. But our mission for this deep dive is to figure out how we move from that, experimental chaos,
The fake refund bot?
the fake refund bot, exactly, to responsible governance. We're going to decode this standard, look at the actual controls, and figure out how you can implement this without just drowning in paperwork.
Because that's the fear, isn't it?
Yeah.
People hear ISO standard and they just think bureaucracy.
Instantly.
But I think the better word here is trust. That's really what this is all about. It's proving that your AI isn't some black box that's going to hallucinate or drift or, tank your stock price. It's turning AI from a potential liability into a truly reliable asset.
Okay, but let's play devil's advocate for a second. We already have security standards. I mean, most of our listeners know ISO 27001. That's the gold standard.
It is.
If I have that and I've locked all my digital doors, isn't my AI safe? Why do I need a whole new thing?
That is the million-dollar question. And it's where a lot of organizations get tripped up. Think of ISO 27001 as like a bank vault.
Okay.
It's fantastic at keeping people out. It ensures confidentiality, integrity, availability.
Yeah.
The CIA triad.
Right. This stops a hacker from stealing your model.
Exactly. The vault is secure. But ISO 42001 isn't about the vault. It's about the behavior of what's inside it.
Meaning? What exactly?
Meaning you can have the most secure encrypted AI model in the world. Nobody can hack it. But if that model systematically denies mortgages to people based on their zip code, or if it hallucinates legal precedents in a court filing, that's not a security breach. You didn't get hacked.
The AI is just doing what it learned to do.
It's doing what it learned. It's just doing something terrible.
Wow. Okay. That's a crucial distinction. So 27001 protects the asset from the world, and 42001 protects the world and the business from the asset.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah. It deals with the unique personality quirks of AI. Things like fairness, transparency, continuous learning. Traditional IT security just doesn't have a category for the software is lying to me.
Or the software has developed a bias.
Exactly.
Which brings us to a concept I saw all over these notes. Model drift. I know what drift is in car racing, but software. Usually software is static. 2 plus 2 is always 4.
Right. Microsoft Excel doesn't wake up one day and decide it prefers subtraction.
No.
But AI is different. It's probabilistic, not deterministic. It learns. And model drift is what happens when the relationship between the input data and the output, it just starts to degrade.
So the software can actually get worse over time.
It can. There are two main types. One is concept drift, where the world itself changes around the model. Imagine you trained an AI on fashion trends using data from 2019.
Oh, and then the pandemic hits and everyone stops buying suits and starts buying sweatpants.
Precisely. The model didn't break. The code is fine. But the very concept of fashion changed. The reality it was trained on just doesn't exist anymore.
And the other type.
That's data drift. That's where the input data changes. Maybe you launch in a new country, the demographics are different, but your model is still treating everyone like the original test group. A static security audit once a year is never going to catch that.
So it's not set it and forget it. It's more like raising a child than installing software.
That's a very apt analogy.
You have to keep checking in to make sure it hasn't picked up bad habits at school.
That's it. And that continuous monitoring is a core requirement of ISO 42001. It forces you to admit that AI is a dynamic system, not just a static tool.
Now, before we get into the nuts and bolts, we have to talk about the regulators. We kept seeing the EU AI Act pop up. Is this standard just a response to that? Is this like homework just for European companies?
It's definitely not just for Europe, but the alignment is very strategic. The sources suggest there's about a 40 to 50% direct overlap.
50%. That's a huge head start.
It is. Things like data governance, human oversight, risk management. These are the pillars of the law and the standard. So if you implement 42001, you're not just getting a badge. You're doing half the homework for the regulators before they even ask for it.
You're future-proofing. So instead of scrambling when a regulator knocks, you can just point to the certification.
It's a strategic shield. And honestly, in a courtroom, proving you followed a global standard is your best defense. It shows you weren't just winging it.
Okay, so we've got the why. It covers the gaps, handles drift, keeps regulators happy. Let's talk about the what, the structure. I saw this term Annex SL. That sounds incredibly dry. Why should we care?
It is total jargon, I admit. But Annex SL is actually a huge benefit. All it means is that this standard speaks the same language as the other ISO standards you might already have.
Like 901 for quality or 27001.
Exactly. They all use the same headers. Leadership, planning, support. It means you don't have to build a whole new bureaucracy from scratch. You can just plug 42001 into what you've already got.
Okay, that's a relief.
Like a USB port for compliance. It just fits.
I think every operational leader just breathed a sigh of relief. But let's get to the juicy part. The real meat of this is in Annex A.
The controls. This is where the rubber meets the road.
Yes. There are 38 of them. We can't go through them all. But I want to pull out the greatest hits. The ones that are totally unique to AI.
Let's do it. Which one stood out to you first?
Okay, Control 8.5, Assessing Impacts. This felt fundamentally different. Usually, business standards care about risks to the business. Will we lose money? This one seemed to care about risks to people.
You've hit on a profound shift there. Traditional risk assessment is inward-looking. It protects the organization. Control 8.5 requires an AI impact assessment. It forces you to look outward.
So it's literally asking, could this hurt someone?
Specifically, yes. Could this system harm physical or psychological well-being? Could it bias hiring? Could it infringe on human rights?
That is heavy. That's not a question you normally ask during a software update.
It isn't. But AI operates at a scale where it can hurt millions of people instantly. This standard mandates that you document and evaluate those societal impacts before you push the button.
It forces a pause. I like that. The next one that jumped out was 8.7 data governance. Now, everyone talks about data, but this control used a word I loved, provenance.
Provenance is critical. In the past, companies just, hoovered up whatever data they could find to train their models.
Move fast and break things approach.
Right. But Control 8.7 says, no, you need to know the ingredients. Where did this data come from? Did you have consent? Is it copyrighted? And crucially, is it poisoned?
Poisoned, like hacked.
Not necessarily, but flawed, biased, incomplete. If you train a medical AI on data from wealthy hospitals, your AI will be great at diagnosing rich people and terrible at diagnosing everyone else.
Right.
That's bad data provenance.
It's like the farm-to-table movement, but for algorithms.
That's a perfect analogy.
You have to know where the chicken came from.
Yes. Garbage in, garbage out is the old saying. With AI, it's bias in, discrimination out.
Okay, let's move to Control 8.6 System Lifecycle. This is where I saw the term model cards. It felt like a nutrition label for the AI.
That's exactly how I described them. A model card is a document that travels with the AI. It explains what it does, what its limits are, the data it was trained on, and this is the big one, what it should not be used for.
That do not use list seems vital.
It is. Imagine you buy an AI tool to summarize emails. It works great. Then some manager decides, hey, let's use this to summarize our legal contracts.
No, that's a disaster waiting to happen.
A complete disaster.
Yeah.
The model wasn't trained for legal terminology. The model card is there to say, stop. This is for emails, not legal advice. It gives the user transparency.
It stops the black box problem. Okay, one more. Controls 8.3 and 8.9, human oversight, human in the loop. But the research made a really interesting point here, that humans can be, well, a bit useless if you're not careful.
We are prone to automation bias. If a computer gives you a complex answer and it sounds confident, our brains are just wired to trust it.
I do it all the time with my GPS. I'll drive right into a lake if the voice tells me to.
Exactly. And in a high-stakes environment like reviewing medical scans, that's incredibly dangerous. So the standard mandates human oversight, but it implies the oversight has to be effective.
So you can't just have some guy named Dave in a room clicking approve all day.
Correct. That's rubber stamping. It's fake oversight. The system has to be designed so the human actually has to engage and has the authority and competence to say, no, the AI is wrong here.
So oversight isn't just a role, it's a culture. You have to empower people to overrule the robot.
That's the only way to keep the human in the loop.
Okay, so we've got the theory. We know we need to care about impact, data ingredients, nutrition labels. But how do we actually do this? Where on earth do you even start?
Step one is always the most surprising for companies. You have to create an inventory.
An AI inventory.
You can't govern what you can't see.
Yeah.
And most companies have no clue how much AI they're actually using. We call it shadow AI.
That sounds
Ominous.
ominous.
It's a massive risk. It's the marketing team using a free ad copy generator. It's HR using a resume scanner they found online. It's a developer pasting proprietary code into a public chatbot to debug it.
Oh, I heard horror stories about that last one. Your trade secrets are suddenly public training data.
Yeah, exactly. So step one isn't writing policy, it's hunting. Find every piece of AI in the building and catalog it.
And once you've found them all, I'm guessing you don't treat them all the same.
Right. A chatbot for the lunch menu isn't the same risk as an AI setting credit limits. You have to classify them. Prohibited, high, limited, minimal risk. That tells you where to spend your energy.
No impact assessment for the lunch bot.
Probably not no, but definitely for the credit limit bot.
Got it. Okay, step 2 was about the assessments. And the notes mention a dual requirement. Risk assessment versus impact assessment. Just clarify that one more time.
Sure. Risk assessment is about the organization. If this fails, do we get sued? Do we lose money? Impact assessment is about the world. If this works perfectly, does it still discriminate? Does it violate privacy? You need both.
And who is supposed to be doing all this? This sounds like way too much for one IT person.
Oh, it is absolutely not a job for one person. The sources are clear. You need an AI governance committee.
A squad.
You need a cross-functional squad.
Ugh.
Legal, HR, operations, tech. If you leave it just to the engineers, you might get a technically perfect model that is ethically disastrous.
Right, you need that RACI matrix: responsible, accountable, consulted, informed.
Exactly.
Okay, step 4, tooling. I'm guessing we're not tracking this in a spreadsheet.
Please don't. Spreadsheets don't scale. You need automated tools for evidence collection for version control. If an auditor asks, why did the AI deny that loan 3 months ago? You need to be able to pull up the exact model version and data it used at that time.
Good point. Since the model drifts, the version today isn't the one from 3 months ago.
Exactly. Manual logs will never keep up.
And finally, step 5, feedback loops. This sounded like the safety valve.
It is. This goes back to model drift. You need a dashboard. You need to see in real time, is the model getting slower? Is it getting more biased? And critically, you need a kill switch.
A kill switch sounds dramatic.
It's necessary. If the dashboard shows the model is suddenly drifting into racist behavior, you need a protocol to shut it down immediately. You can't just let it run while you figure out a patch.
A break glass in case of emergency plan.
Yes. And you need to test that plan before the crisis.
Terrifyingly practical advice. Now, before we wrap, a lot of our listeners might be shouting, what about NIST, the NIST AI Risk Management Framework? Is this an ISO versus NIST battle?
It's less of a battle and more of a partnership. They serve different purposes. ISO 42001 is a certification. It's prescriptive. It says you must do X, Y, and Z to get the badge.
So ISO is the diploma on the wall.
Right. The NIST framework is more like the textbook. It's a risk-based, flexible framework. It gives you the deep methodologies to understand risk.
So you use NIST to figure out how to manage risk, and you use ISO to structure the system and get certified.
Ideally, yes. They're complementary. You use NIST's methods inside the ISO 42001 structure. NIST gives you agility, and ISO gives you stability and, importantly, international recognition.
Stability plus agility. I like that.
And remember, ISO is global. That opens doors.
So bringing this all together, we've gone from the Wild West to a structured system. But I can hear some people groaning, thinking, great, more red tape. This will slow us down.
That's the fear. But let's look at the so what here. This isn't just red tape. It's a license to innovate safely.
How so?
Well, think about the hesitation companies have right now. They're afraid of lawsuits, PR nightmares. If you have a robust system in place, you have confidence. You can actually move faster because you know the safety net is there.
That brings me to this great car analogy from our research.
The brake pedal.
The brake pedal. We think of governments as something to slow you down. But why do race cars have massive brakes?
To let them drive faster.
Exactly. You can't go 200 miles an hour if you have bicycle brakes. You'd crash at the first corner.
It's the perfect metaphor. ISO 42001 is the braking system that lets companies accelerate AI adoption without crashing the business. It lets you take corners at speed.
That's a powerful image. It shifts the mindset from compliance is a burden to compliance is a performance enabler.
And in a market where trust is the ultimate currency, proving your AI is safe is a massive competitive advantage. Customers are getting savvy. They're going to start asking, is your AI biased?
And being able to say, we're ISO 42001 certified is the answer.
It answers the question instantly.
So for everyone listening who's feeling a bit overwhelmed, the path forward doesn't start with buying more software. It starts with that inventory.
Go find the hidden AI in your business.
Shine a light on the shadows.
Absolutely. You might be surprised, maybe a little alarmed by what you find. But that's the first step to mastering it.
Well, there you have it. The rule book for the robot revolution isn't science fiction. It's ISO 42001. It might just be the best way to keep your business on the track. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive.
Pleasure as always.